I think a lot of people don't know, but like it's the most important thing right now is to figure out like how do we take new technologies, embody them in products that people can use. And
thanks. So there's been the last 3 days have been busy. Two of the projects up there just launched actually in the last 3 days. And you know what I have found interesting as far as the role of design and technology is that really now it's the job of the designer to really figure out how technology gets used every day. It is not a technology-driven world that we live in. It's very much an experience-driven world that we live in, and the designer tends to be a very close partner and a very critical partner in how technologies, and in this particular case up there, sensors are entering every facet of our lives. So I'll just quickly kind of talk about what's up there, which is a series of different, I guess you could call them Internet of Things, but simply technologies that are starting to appear in many different places in our lives. A lot of people are familiar with fitness trackers and sleep trackers, such as the Job On Up. And this is sensors on the body, and it's an incredible frontier that is developing in front of us with millions of people using them every day, millions of people using the data to progress, to achieve certain personal goals, and to hopefully live healthier lives. So from the body, we have moved into the environment, sensors around us. August and the August Smart Lock, which is in the upper right-hand corner for you, is a way to manage your door and manage the way people come in and out of your homes. You, your friends, your family, send invitations, send keys, and not have to deal with these sharp pieces of metal that rattle in our pockets and our bags. So from the body to the environment, and what I got really excited about was, what about if we take sensors and put them in nature? What would happen? That's Eden, which is down the middle, which just launched on Kickstarter, which is a company created by a soil scientist, and it does your soil analysis, including nutrients, and helps you decide what you're going to be planting in your garden or in your field, and supports you in managing water consumption of your plants, and especially, you know, this is an especially relevant issue right now in California. Yeah. And then the last one, the very last one, which launched this morning on the upper left-hand side corner for you, is called Vessel. And Vessel is a cup that will help you manage your consumption of liquids. So whether you're consuming coffee, whether you're consuming sodas, whether you want to stay hydrated, it will tell you your levels of hydration. And that cup actually will even be able to make a distinction between very different types of of liquids. It can tell the difference between Pepsi and a Coke. It will tell you whether you're having either or of those two. And this is another kind of entrepreneurial project we have worked on with a scientist and the founder, Justin Lee. And in this case, they're also showing this as a first product of a growing little startup.
Could it tell you if you're drinking alcohol too fast or too slow?
Absolutely.
Clearly,
it can.
Losing track already.
It will. You know, some people put jokes on Twitter, of course, that it will help them with their alcoholism. Right. But yes, it will tell you the level of alcohol and what kind of drink is in there. It will even identify mixed drinks.
Wow,
so
great.
If you have, Jack and Coke or something, it will it will identify the different ingredients.
Wow.
And in the cup.
That sounds awesome. What I think is fascinating about like all those projects you talked about, like for me as an inventor, I just kind of cheat by looking around the world and finding all the places where computers haven't gone yet. And almost systematically through our lives, like they've just gone everywhere. I remember being a kid wanting a computer in my car, and everyone thought that was crazy. And now there's like 30. And now you've literally taken it and put it on your wrist, in a cup, you know, in the door lock, which is like the last mechanical thing we use every day.
Right.
So since you've been on this trajectory for a while, do you think there's any end to it?
I think we're really at the very beginning. I mean, we're in the infancy of the way sensors are going to be proliferating around us. Yeah. I am particularly interested in the area of health. I think that healthcare not only is you know, the biggest sort of humanitarian kind of challenge we currently have in Western and developing world societies. From a cost and from a sort of human standpoint, this is something that I think sensors will have a tremendous impact on. And so we're really very much in the first, you know, 1.0 of all of these products and these technologies, and how they will truly change the world once they're applied to areas such as healthcare, for example.
It seems like there's a lot of, like I know for me, I see every day, I feel like I get new chip, new sensor, new capability from science. I feel like they're new superpowers, but we have to figure out like how to apply them. And it seems like you do such an elegant job of applying them in a way that people can actually use and relate to. I mean, how do you find those projects early on?
Right.
And how do you, because you're doing it the first time. You know, so a lot of these, it's the first time. It's the first time we're going to be able to get a cup that knows what we're drinking. And to figure that out and bring it to the market the first time, I think is...
Right. Well, all those projects, all those companies are very, very different. Yeah. But there's certainly, and all those projects have technical challenges, design challenges that are, you know, somewhat different from one another. But there is one element that I think connects them, or a couple of principles and a couple of elements that connects them across, which I'm very much passionate about. I personally feel like the discrete interface, a discrete computer, you know, not one that I have to kind of pull out of my pocket, turn it on, enter my code, look for an app, open the app, and finally see the information. That seems to be a huge barrier today to us using more than a few apps and it's a huge barrier in the flow of our lives. I mean, we're constantly distracted. We're constantly, you know, with our heads in our screens. And I do think that actually these types of technologies are, you know, bringing intelligence to the objects around us, not mitigated so much by the phone. Yeah. You're interfacing with this cup, or you're interfacing, you know, with a job on app. Most of the day, you don't really need, you know, it will discreetly remind you of things. It will wake you up in the morning at the time that you assigned. It will give you, you know, notifications, you know, throughout the day in a discrete fashion.
More ambient experiences.
And to me, that is really kind of the breakthrough, that these type, you know, the computer everywhere is really going to be a discrete computer, not one that we feel burdened about, or that we even feel distracted about, you know, in our lives, which I think, you know, after 7 years of a lot of us using kind of smartphones, I think we're ready for the next step.
Do you feel like there were projects where you got into it? I mean, it seems like some of these easily could have been things where we thought it was going to work, got started on it, tried to develop it into a usable product, and then couldn't get there. Do you feel like that happens sometimes? I mean, you have to guess.
Well, when you work in our world, I mean, you're in the lab. You know, a failure and constant iteration is really critical. Yeah. So the cup project named Vessel is one that really we started working on for 4 years, four and a half years ago. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that we tried that didn't work. There's a lot of scenarios that we had about consumption and technology, for example, on everyday products that simply could not be achieved in the next decade. Yeah. So the cup is really a technology, but it took a number of different iterations to develop, refine, and put it into a form factor that would actually be useful for people. So some of these take forever. I mean, another one took forever is game golf, which I didn't mention. It's the one on the lower corner, lower left corner for you. And that's a discrete tracking device for golfing. And there's a rule in golfing is you're not supposed to pull out your cell phone.
Yeah.
And so the PGA, you know, has banned any types of devices on the golf course because they all find it to be a distraction. But this one is you just wear it, and it discreetly records every single shot, every single distance, and every single club that you have used while playing golf. And in doing so, it does it completely in the background without you to ever have to look at it. And at the end of your game, you have, you know, basically professional level statistics. Yeah. So this took 4 years as well. And it's actually backed by the PGA, and we have the logo of the PGA on the packaging. That's, you know, the product is sold at Apple, for example, at the Apple retail stores. But so each area has actually very particular problems, very particular solutions. Yeah. And you know, you would think you can kind of just throw a bunch of technologies and just kind of slap them onto, you know, put the technology in a golf ball, or put the technology in the golf clubs, and none of these things are authorized. You know, none of these things are even, you know, the right approach. So it does take time to figure these things out, and a lot of ideas get thrown out the window.
Another thing I've noticed is, like, a lot of things humans did the first time, like building steam engines or airplanes or whatever, we just had to make it work. And now that we have all these sensors and we have all this computation to analyze the data from them, it seems like we can go back and redesign everything that we do with efficiency as a design requirement. And it seems like you've already gotten started on that track, maybe earlier than other designers. You know, I thought I would ask you what you think about that.
What do you mean by efficiency as a design requirement?
We can use a minimum amount of materials. We can design for, you know, to get the exact job done. And, you know, if you look at a steam engine, it's just a whole bunch of steel, just in case. And now we can figure out exactly how much steel we need to use, and we can measure how much energy is being used end to end in a.
Yeah, I mean, for me, sustainability is really critical in our work, both purely from the amount of use of materials. Yeah. You know, we've designed a chair for Herman Miller, which is a global success, and a product that's one of the top selling, you know, office products in the world, called the Sail Chair. And it's half the weight, it's half the price as well. Yeah. It uses a significantly, you know, less amount of energy, fuel in shipping, et cetera, et cetera. But that's, to me, that's not a specialty of design. You know, sustainability isn't something that you put as a specialty of your work. This is something that you need to practice every day. Yeah. Whether you're designing, you know, a jam box, or whether you're designing, you know, an entire office system.
Yeah, cool.
So you just launched a company which is actually very cool. So I'm going to turn it around, and I want you to do a pitch, because I just saw pictures of it. Yeah. And I immediately had a bunch of ideas.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. I love that. So the company is called Bombsheller, and we just tried to reimagine how a clothing company could work, because apparel companies make designs, they put them on the runway, they take orders, they send them to China, they wait for months for them to come back on a slow boat. And that's not what we imagine for the future. We would like to, like, wait for somebody to buy something or click a buy now, and then we make it and ship it. So we started doing that with clothes. And it's really exciting. We put the entire company in one building. The factory is there with marketing and the web and everything, and we can ship in an hour from when you make an order, and that's exciting. So we only make one thing right now, which is spandex leggings for women. So If you want leggings, let us know.
But they look amazing, and you can have anyone throw in some designs and gift
or make designs. You can send us designs. We'll make, you know, we'll put your cat on your butt if you want. Don't quote me on that. So anyway, that's a way for us to experiment with like a factory of the future, you know, where we don't have any supply chain issues at all. We have no time between the time you order and the time we make it for you, and there's no waste, there's no inventory, all those things.
What's the turnaround?
Our turnaround time is the same day. I mean, if we get an order, we mail it out usually the same day, sometimes the next day. Yeah.
Tights the same day tights. I think that's that must be exciting for at least half of the audience.
Yeah, well, we hope to make other products that way someday, you know, every product that way, and that's the point of like 3D printers, is that someday we'd have a programmable factory that, you know, only makes the thing that somebody actually wants to get, instead of just loading up warehouse shelves full of junk. So anyway, we're going to get off stage.
That seems like a good conclusion.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, the bottom one.
I was thinking that I should mention it. The bottom right is a project we did for the Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is it's a particular problem I've observed when I've traveled to places where there is endemic diseases like malaria, and the problem with treatments of malaria in the developing world is the fact that the treatments are somewhat available, but it's the distances and the follow-ups that are complicated, and that often people skip, simply because it's too far to travel to, and they have to do a follow-up every 3 weeks for about 6 months. And so but what the other thing you find out, and when you know, for example, we go to Indonesia, in a region that still lives, you know, pretty much under, you know, in the age of bronze, and so, but they all have, it's the age of bronze with cell phones. So it's totally incredible, and so this is a device that allows you to communicate with the clinics that usually are an hour, 2 hours away by foot, and keep track of some of your vitals, and allows for the clinic to motivate you to come back for the treatment, or to at least sort of follow up on your condition at a distance. And so you wear it around your neck. It touches your body, and there is a temperature sensor and a number of other sensors that allow you to do very low cost, using available cell technology, which actually often, even in the age of bronze islands that I go to in Indonesia, the cell coverage is actually better sometimes than in San Francisco. So using existing infrastructure to resolve and to solve some very critical health issues around endemic diseases such as malaria. So this is a concept project, but we have a lot of interest in developing it further. Thank you.
Thanks, Yves, Behar.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, man.
Good job.
Yeah, it was good.